Hello everyone, I Kuldeep Sharma welcome you all to today's session of 20 GK caution, which have been specifically curated from the Hindu newspaper as well as Indian Express. But before I begin, the same reminder, please go through today's daily news analysis where all of these questions have been framed from. So these questions answering would become easier for you and this would be helpful for you also. Okay, so let's look at the first question. Which article of the Indian Constitution specifies that there should not be a gap of more than 6 months between two sessions of Parliament? So we have discussed this today that under Article 85 of the Constitution, the Constitution states that between two parliamentary sessions there should not be a gap of more than 6 months, which means the Constitution expects the Parliament to conduct at least two sessions in a particular year. So the correct answer of first is obviously going to be option number B, Article 85. Moving on to the next question. What is the minimum quorum required to conduct a sitting of either House of Parliament? So we have discussed this also. The quorum basically specifies the minimum number of members required to conduct a meeting, and in case of Parliament, in case of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, it is at least 1/10 of the total membership, which means this would be around 55 in the case of Lok Sabha and around 25 in the case of Rajya Sabha. So the correct answer for 2 is going to be A only. Moving on to the next question. Who has the authority to summon a session of Parliament in India? So basically, whenever you want to start a particular session of Parliament, whether it be the budget session or the monsoon or the winter session, the summoning of the Parliament is done by the President of India, which is option number D in this particular case. So the correct answer for third is going to be D. Moving on to the next question. What is the term used when the President terminates a session of Parliament? So 4 terms are mentioned here. What particular term is used when the President wants to terminate the full session of the House, not a sitting but the session of the House? So we know summoning is basically asking the Parliament to come and sit down. Your adjournment and adjournment signed basically relates to ending the sitting of the House or terminating the sitting of the House. However, it is prorogation which deals with terminating the session of the Parliament. So the correct answer for question number 4 is obviously going to be D again. Moving on to the next question. What is the Siliguri corridor commonly referred to as? So when we discuss today SSB and Siliguri corridor, we discuss the other name for Siliguri corridor. So 4 options are there. One is your India's Gateway, Bengal Strip, Elephant's Path or Chicken Snack. So we know this because your Siliguri corridor is only 17 km wide and it basically is the only land route from India's mainland to the northeast. So this particular Siliguri corridor is also known as India's chicken neck, because if China is able to grab our chicken neck, then possibly India is going to lose its land corridor with the rest of the northeast. So the correct answer for it is going to be D. Moving on to the next question. Which ministry oversees the Sahastra Seema Bal? So SSB, which stands for Sahastra Seema Bal, and it was a body which was created in 1963. Which particular ministry oversees this particular body? So we know that your SSB is a CAPF, Central Armed Police Force, which is basically one out of 7 CAPFs which is responsible for internal security of India, and your internal security of India is in the compass of the Ministry of Home Affairs only, which is responsible for internal security. So the correct answer for 6 is going to be C. Moving on to the next question. The Sahastra Seema Bal is responsible for guarding India's borders with which countries? So we have discussed this also, that we have realized with time that there needs to be a division between your armed forces for different borders, so that all the forces training can be as per the requirement of that particular geography, that particular weather and climate issues also. So accordingly, Sahastra Seema Bal has been allocated the borders of Nepal and Bhutan, and which is option number A in this particular case. So SSB is responsible for guarding your Nepal and Bhutan border. So what you can do is, if you know this answer, if you want to do some research, or if you already know it, if you can tell me which particular CAPF or which particular paramilitary force is responsible for securing your Bangladesh, is responsible for securing your Chinese border, and is responsible for securing your India, Pakistan or LOC, you can mention it in the comment box also. Okay, moving on to the next question. Where is the headquarters of Sahastra Seema Bal located? So 4 options are there: Patna, Guwahati, Lucknow, New Delhi. Option number A, B, C are actually the headquarters, but this is not the primary headquarters. These are the frontier headquarters of this fuller body, and New Delhi is the place where the headquarters of Sahastra Seema Bal is located. So the correct answer for 8th here is going to be D only. Moving on to the next question, which of the following is not one of the CAPFs in India? So we have already discussed that we have 7 CAPFs which function under Ministry of Home Affairs, and we know this that your Indian Army, your Indian Air Force and in your Indian Navy comes under Ministry of Defense, because they are responsible for external defense of India, which means the correct answer for 9th is obviously going to be option number C. Moving on to the next question. The SSB was created in response to which event? So I've already told you that it was the Fitting War of 1962, which India basically lost against China, which opened India's eyes, and it was felt that we need to work on our defenses very much, and this is basically the reason why we created a specific body for our different border regions. So for Nepal and Bhutan, we created SSB after the 1962 Chinese aggression. So correct answer 10th is going to be B. Next question. Kuwait gained independence from the British Protectorate in which particular year? So Kuwait became independent country. So India became independent from Britain in 1947, and we have discussed this also. Kuwait, which was a British Protectorate until 1961, became independent in the year 1961. So the correct answer for 11 is going to be C. You should also know this, that as soon as your Kuwait became independent, the very next year in 1962, India established diplomatic relations with Kuwait also. Moving on to question number 12. Which group forms the largest expatriate community in Kuwait? Basically, which group of people forms the largest foreigner base in the country of Kuwait? So we know this, that in most of your Middle Eastern countries, Indians are the largest expatriate group in that particular country, be it be Saudi Arabia, be it be Qatar, or be it be Kuwait. So in this particular case, the correct answer is obviously going to be D only. So the correct answer for 12th is D, Indians. Moving on to the next question. OPEC was founded under which declaration in 1960, or basically in which particular city your OPEC was created? So you have 4 options: Baghdad Declaration, Tehran, Riyadh, or Vienna. So we know this, that in the year 1960 it was in the city of Baghdad that your OPEC, which stands for Organization for Petroleum Exporting Country, was created. Remember, it was created in the city of Baghdad, but this is not where the headquarter of OPEC is located. And the next question is this only: where is the headquarter of OPEC located? So you should know this, that the OPEC headquarter is in Vienna in Austria. So the correct answer 14th is going to be C only. Moving on to the next question. How many member countries are currently part of OPEC? So basically any country which is a petroleum exporting country, which is a big petroleum exporting country, can become a member of this particular group, and currently there are 14 members in this particular group, which means the correct answer 15th is going to be C. Moving on to the next question. Amravati is situated close to which river? So here I should have been more specific. I am talking about the Amravati, which is the prospective capital of Andhra Pradesh. This Amravati is situated close to which particular river? So 4 rivers names are mentioned here, and we have discussed this also, that Amravati, which is supposed to be the new capital of Andhra Pradesh, would be on the banks of Krishna river, or is on the banks of Krishna river. So the correct answer for 16th is going to be option number A. Moving on to the next question. Amravati is renowned for being the birthplace of which Buddhist tradition? So basically Amravati, the city of Amravati, the ancient city of Amravati, is famous for creation or for being the birthplace of which form of Buddhism? So we have discussed this also, that there are 2 major forms of Buddhism. One is Mahayana and Hinayana. These are the 2 basic schools of Buddhism. Apart from it, there is this Tantric school known as Vajrayana Buddhism, and then we have a Jain Buddhism school also, which basically developed from in the country of Japan only. However, in case of Amravati for some is considered, by some authors it is considered as the birthplace of Mahayana Buddhism. So the correct answer for 17th is going to be D. Moving on to the next question. How many crops does the government announces MSP for? So MSP stands for minimum support price, which is being announced by the government for 22 plus 1 crop. This is basically total of 23 crops. But if I talk about MSP separately and FRP separately, then MSP announced for 22 crops, and for sugarcane we have this one FRP. So the correct answer in this particular case is obviously option number B. For 22 crops, the government announces MSPs in India. Next question. Which government body recommends the MSP in India? Again, it's a very important question. Remember, it is not the government exactly, it is not the cabinet committee exactly, which basically recommends what should be the MSP for particular crops, and it is basically another commission known as Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices, or CACP, which basically recommends the MSP in India. So the correct answer for 19th is going to be C. Okay. Finally, the last question for today. What is the minimum experience required at the bar for a lawyer to be eligible for designation as a senior advocate? So we have discussed senior advocate in detail in today, and there we discussed that if a particular lawyer has experience of minimum of 10 years, he is eligible to apply for senior advocate. It is a different matter that the Supreme Court or a High Court judge decide on the basis of certain criteria. They decide to declare you a senior advocate, but you have to have practice of at least 10 years, which is given in option number D. So the correct answer for 20 is going to be D, 10 years. So if a particular lawyer has an experience of 10 years, then only he is eligible to apply for senior advocate designation. Okay, so students, these were the important 20 GK questions for today, which have been curated from your Hindu and Indian Express. Again, my advice has always been, please go through daily news analysis first and then try to solve it, because all of these questions are basically a experiment, or it's basically a test for you to know if you have been able to understand the today's daily news analysis, or if you have been reading the newspaper, if you have been able to point out the important details from those particular news items also. Okay, student, with this message, I would like to end today's session. Thank you and have a very nice day.